Hey friends, I just wanted to wish you a happy Easter. I'm very aware that many of us come from different spiritual traditions and so you might bristle at the celebration of this Christian holiday. But this is how I grew up and I think there's a powerful message here and I just wanted to share some of my reflections with you. I remember many years ago, a colleague of mine, we worked together, and he wrote in a blog post, I wasn't born with rose colored glasses. And he was kind of taking a stand for his outlook. And I tend to be the eternal optimist. And so I was like, oh, come on, man. Really? That's how you're going to come at this life thing? That was that was some time ago. I think I've learned and matured since. That's a little bit of what I want to share with you. I've also come across some cynicism lately, and some of it in young people, and I've noticed that it's just a protective mechanism. It's like a guard that we put on because we feel things, and the world can be a hard place, and we don't want to be hurt, and so we get cynical, right? Kind of a cynical bravado that has a kind of cool to it, and this is not just in kids; it's even uglier in educated adults. And I was reflecting on that. What is that about? How does it connect to today's celebration and to this moment? At the beginning of this pandemic, I hosted a number of adaptive change calls, and there was this sense of possibility, this sense that this pause, this moment of pattern interrupt will create a different set of possibilities for us, and I still think that is true. At the same time, I can feel the pressure of the old ways, of the old economy, kind of calling us in as we start to get vaccinated, a way to return to a normal that might have been comfortable for some of us, but definitely not good for our planet. And so, how do you deal with that sense of possibility, and then that likelihood that we're just going to stay stuck in a way of doing things? At the beginning of the pandemic, I also put out a couple of videos called Meaning and the Pandemic, reflecting on the way of Viktor Frankl and the possibility of post-traumatic growth. And in it, I reflected on this concept of tragic optimism. Tragic optimism. The kind of cleared-eyed facing of life. This knowing that life will inevitably break your heart. That suffering is embedded in this thing. While at the same time remaining somehow optimistic about what is possible. So a sober optimism, not the rose-colored glasses optimism, but one that looks reality in the face. And I feel like this weekend calls us into that. It's like there is this passion, there's this gruesome death, this betrayal of all that is good and holy. And that no matter what happens, that goodness emerges alive. It has victory over death itself. That goodness is the same creative life force of the universe, the same intention, the same word, the same verb become flesh, right? And that it persists in in and through the darkness. And I feel like that's a bit of what we're being called to consider at a time like this, as we come out of a period of, start to come out of a period, because we're not done yet, of deep grief, right? On a weekend like this here in Boston, it's you can feel the spring, and for the first time I will gather with my vaccinated parents, right? And so there's all this possibility there as well, and I just want to bring that forward, because it is something that I am reflecting on, and something that I wanted to offer. Tragic optimism, the victory of life over death.